We have sad news in the world of baseball. Bob Gibson, who was a former baseball player that played back in the 50s up until 75, played his whole career with the St. Louis Cocksuckers. He played 17 years with them. 59 to 75, has died. He was 84 years old, died from cancer. Um, he was nicknamed Gibby or the Hoot, or he was nicknamed Gibby and Hoot after actor. Basically, the Hoot nickname came from the actor Hoot Gibson. Um, Gibson tallied 251 wins and 174 losses, 3,117 strikeouts, and a 291 earned run average during his career. He won. He was selected to 9 All-Star games and won 2 World Series rings. He won 2 Cy Young awards in the 1968 National League most valuable player award. Known for being a fiercely competitive person and also was known for intimidating the opposing batters. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in '81 in his first year of eligibility. His number 45 was retired by the Cardinals, and he was inducted into the Cardinals Hall of Fame in 2014. Um, he also was a good hitter for a pitcher though too, because the guy would also hit. The guy played 17 years and in 17 years he was able to hit 24 home runs as a pitcher. Not very common anyway. Most pitchers don't hit more than one or two. He was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. Gibson overcame what they call childhood illness to excel in the youth sports, particularly basketball and baseball. He briefly played under a contract um, for the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team in the St. Louis Cocksuckers organization. Gibson decided to give up basketball altogether and focus solely on baseball professionally. He became a full-time starting pitcher in '61 and earned his first All-Star appearance in 1962. Gibson would won 2 of the 3 games he pitched in the 1964 World Series. Um, he had his first 20-win season in 1965, and Gibson also had pitched 3 complete games, or like three complete game victories in the '67 World Series. The pinnacle of Gibson's career was 1968 when he posted a 1.12 ERA for the season, and he struck out 17 batters in Game 1 of the 1968 World Series. Gibson threw a no-hitter in 1971 but began experiencing swelling in his knee in subsequent seasons. He retired as a player in '75, but Gibson would eventually later on serve as a pitching coach for his former teammate Joe Torre. At one time, a special instructor coach for the St. Louis Cocksuckers, Gibson was later selected for the Major League Baseball All-Century team in 1999. Gibson had wrote a book. It was like a memoir called Pitch by Pitch with Lonnie Wheeler. Gibson died of pancreatic cancer on October 2nd of 2020. Gibson, well, like I said, Gibson was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and he was the youngest of 7 kids, 5 boys, 2 girls. Gibson's father died of tuberculosis 3 months prior to his birth, and Gibson was named Pack Robert Gibson in his father's honor. While he revered his father's legacy, Gibson disliked the name Pack, and later changed his first name to Robert. Despite a childhood that included health problems like a disease called rickets, which I'm not sure what that is, and a serious case of either asthma or pneumonia when he was 3, Gibson was always active in sports in both informal and organized settings, particularly baseball and basketball. Gibson's brother Josh, no relation to the Negro League player Josh Gibson, who was 15 years his senior, had a profound effect on his early life. Serving as a mentor to him, Gibson played on a number of youth basketball and baseball teams his brother coached, many of which were organized through the local YMCA. Um, Gibson had attended Omaha Technical High School, where during his tenure he participated on the track, basketball, and baseball team. But health issues resurfaced for Gibson, though, and he needed a doctor's permission to compete in high school sports because of a heart murmur that occurred in tandem with the rapid growth spurt. Gibson was named to the All-State basketball team during his senior year of high school by a newspaper in Lincoln, Nebraska, and soon after he won a full athletic scholarship for basketball from Creighton University. Indiana University and Indiana University had rejected him after stating the Negro athlete quota had already been filled. It was the same reasoning used to reject Oscar Robertson by Nebraska. While at Creighton University, Gibson majored in sociology and continued to experience success playing basketball. At the end of Gibson's junior basketball season, he averaged 22 points per game and made the third team Jesuit All-American. As he graduated from Creighton, he approached the spring of 1957. And the spring of 57 proved to be a busy time for Gibson. Aside from getting married, Gibson had garnered the interest of the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team and the St. Louis Cocksuckers baseball team. In 1957, Gibson received a $3,000 bonus, a notable sum at that time to sign with the Cocksuckers. He delayed his start with the organization for a year, playing basketball with the Globetrotters. However, he gave up as a trembling member due to long travels and many doubleheaders for that. To start off his baseball career, Gibson was signed to the Cocksuckers big league roster for the start of the '59 season, but recording his first he pitched his first game on April 15th, coming out of relief. Reassigned to the Cocksuckers minor league affiliate team in Omaha soon after, Gibson returned to the majors on July 30th as a starting pitcher, earning his first major league win that same day. Gibson's experience in 1960 was similar, pitching 9 innings for the Cocksuckers before shuffling between the Cocksuckers and the Rochester affiliate until mid-June. After posting a 3-6 record with a .561 ERA, Gibson had traveled to Venezuela to participate in the Winter Baseball League at the conclusion of the '60 season. Then Cocksuckers manager Sally Hennis had shuffled Gibson between the bullpen and the starting pitching rotation for the first half of the '61 season. In the 2011 documentary, Gibson indicated that Hennis's racial prejudice played a major role in his misuse of Gibson as well as of the teammate Kurt Flood, both of whom were told by Hemus that they would not make it as major leaguers and they should try something else. Hemus was replaced as Cocksuckers manager in July of 1961 by Johnny Keane, who had been Gibson's manager in the Omaha minor league affiliate several years prior. Keane and Gibson shared a positive professional relationship, and Keane immediately moved Gibson into the starting rotation full-time. Gibson would proceed to compile an 11-6 record the remainder of the year and posted a .324 ERA for the full season. Off the field, you had Bill White, Kurt Flood, and Gibson started the civil rights movement to make all players live in the same clubhouse and hotel rooms and lead the St. Louis Cocksuckers to become the first sports team to end what they call segregation. 3 years before President Lyndon Johnson signed the Great Society legislation in '64. In late May of the 1962 season, Gibson had pitched 22 consecutive innings that were scoreless on his way to being named to his first National League All-Star team. Because of an additional All-Star game that was played each season from '59 to '62, Gibson was named to the second 1962 National League All-Star game as well when he pitched 2 innings. He suffered After suffering a fractured ankle on the season, Gibson referred to often referred to by the nickname Hooch, which was a reference to Western film star Hugh Gibson, still finished 1962 with the 200 plus strikeout season. The rehabilitation of Gibson's ankle was a slow process, and by May 19th of the '63 season, he had only recorded 1 win. Gibson then turned to rely on his slider and 2 different fastball pitches to reel off 6 straight wins prior to late July. Gibson and all the other National League pitchers benefited from a rule change that expanded the strike zone above the belt buckle. Adding to his pitching performance, Gibson was also was an offensive production person. With his 20 RBIs outmentioned the combined RBI output of entire pitching staffs on other National League teams. Even with Gibson's 18 wins and extra motivation of teammate Sam Musi's impending retirement, the Cocksuckers finished 6 games out of first place. Building on what they called their late season pennant, in 1963, the 1964 Cocksuckers developed a strong camaraderie that was noted for being free of the racial tension that predominated the United States at that time. Part of this atmosphere stemmed from the integration of the team's spring training hotel in 1960, and Gibson and teammate Bill White had worked to confront and stop use of racial slurs within the team. On August 23rd, the Cocksuckers were 11 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies, and they remained 6.5 games behind. On September 21st, the combination of a 9-game Cocksuckers winning streak and a 10-game Phillies losing streak then brought the season down to the final game. The Cocksuckers faced the New York Mets and Gibson entered the game as a relief pitcher in the fifth inning. Aware that the Phillies were ahead of the Cincinnati Reds 4-0 at the time he entered the game, Gibson proceeded to pitch 4 innings of two-hit relief, while his teammates scored 11 runs of support to earn the victory. They would next go on to face the 1964 New York Yankees in the World Series, and Gibson was matched against Mel Stottlemyre for the Yankees starting pitcher for 3 of the 7 games, with Gibson losing Game 2, but then he won Game 5. In Game 7, Gibson, who was only on pitching on 2 days rest, pitched into the ninth inning, where he allowed home runs to Phil Linz and Clete Boyer, making the score 7-5 Cocksuckers. With Ray Sadecki and Barney Schultz warming up in the Cocksucker bullpen, Gibson retired Bobby Richardson for the final out, giving the Cocksuckers their first World Series championship win since 1946. Along with his 2 victories, Gibson set a new World Series record by striking out 31 batters. Gibson had made the All-Star team again in 1965, and when the Cocksuckers were out of the pennant race by August, attention turned in on Gibson to see if he could produce his first 20-win season. Gibson was still looking for number 20 on the last day of the season, a game where the new Cocksuckers manager Red Schoendice rested many of the regular players. Gibson still prevailed against the Houston Astros by a score of 5-2. The 1966 season marked the opening of Busch Memorial Stadium for the Cocksuckers, and Gibson was selected to play in the All-Star game in front of the hometown crowd that year as well. The Cocksuckers built a 3.5-game lead prior to the 1967 season All-Star break, and Gibson pitched the 7th and 8th inning of the 1967 All-Star game. Gibson then faced the Pittsburgh Pirates on July 15th when Roberto Clemente hit a line drive off of Gibson's right leg. Unaware his leg had been fractured, Gibson still faced 3 more batters before his right fibula bone had snapped above the ankle. After Gibson returned on September 7th, the Cocksuckers secured the National League pennant on September 18th, 10.5 games ahead of the San Francisco Giants. In the 1967 World Series against the Boston Red Sox, Gibson had only allowed 3 earned runs and 14 hits over 3 complete game victories in Game 1, 4, and 5, his shutout. In Game 7, the latter 2 marks tying Christy Mathewson's 1905 World Series record, just as he had in 1964. Gibson had pitched a complete game victory in Game 7 against Cy Young winner Jim Lonborg, who pitched a one-hitter in Game 2 and contributed offensively by hitting a home run that made the game 3-0. Gibson became the only pitcher to be on the mound for the final out of Game 7 of a World Series multiple times. Unlike his last win as a World Series MVP, he finally got the men's suit endorsement that eluded him in 1964. He also gained endorsement and sponsorship for his asthma medication, namely the Primatene Mist inhaler and tablets. In the 1968 season, which became known as the Year of the Pitcher, Gibson was at the forefront of pitching dominance. His earned run average was 1.12, a live ball era record, as well as the major league record in 300 innings or more pitched a year. It was the lowest major league ERA since Dutch Leonard's 0.96 ERA mark 54 years earlier. Gibson threw 13 shutouts, which was 3 fewer than fellow Nebraskan Grover Alexander's 1916 major league record of 16. He won all 12 starts in June and July, pitching a complete game every time, 8 of which were shutouts, and allowed only 6 earned runs in 108 innings pitched, which was a 0.50 ERA. Gibson had pitched 47 consecutive scoreless innings during this stretch, at the time the 3rd longest streak in Major League history. He also struck out 91 batters, and then he won 2 consecutive National League Player of the Month awards. Gibson would then finish the season with 28 complete games out of 34 games started. Of the games he didn't complete, he was a pinch hitter, meaning Gibson was not removed from the mound for another pitcher for the entire season. He also only conceded a total of only 38 earned runs. Gibson was the National League MVP. Award winner. Not until Clayton Kershaw in 2014 would another National League pitcher ever do so to win it. Denny McLain won the American League's Most Over Player award in 1968. Remains to date the only year for both MVP awards that went to pitchers, as McLain compiled a record of 31-6 for Detroit Tigers that year. For the 1968 season, opposing batters only had a batting average of 184 and an on-base percentage of 233 with a slugging percentage of 236. Gibson lost 9 games against his 22 wins for that year, despite his record-setting low 1.12 ERA. The anemic batting throughout baseball included his own Cardinal team. The 1968 or cocksucker team. The 1968 cocksuckers team had only one 300 hitter, with the team leading home run and RBI totals were just 16 and 79 respectively. Gibson lost two 1-0 games, one of which went to San Francisco Giants pitcher Gaylord Perry's no-hitter on September 17th. The Giants run in that game came on the first inning home run, but the light hitting hitter Ron Hunt, the second of two, he would hit the entire season, and one of only 11 that Gibson allowed in 304 innings. The year was also notable for Don Drysdale, pitching a record 6 consecutive shutouts and 58 consecutive scoreless innings also. In Game 1 of 1968 of the World Series, Gibson struck out 17 Detroit Tigers to set a World Series record for strikeouts in one game, which still stands today, breaking Sandy Koufax's record of 15 in Game 1 of the 63 World Series. He also joined Ed Walsh as the only pitcher to strike out at least one batter in each inning of a World Series game, Walsh having done so in Game 3 of the 1906 World Series after allowing a leadoff single to Mickey Stanley in the ninth inning. Gibson finished the game by striking out Tiger sluggers Al Kaline, Norm Cash, and Willie Horton in success. Recalling the performance, Tigers outfielder Jim Northrup remarked, "We are fastball hitters, but he blew the ball right by us and he had a nasty slider that was jumping all over the place." Gibson would next pitch Game 4 of the 68 World Series, defeating the Tigers pitcher Denny McLain 10-1. The teams continued to battle each other, setting the stage for another winner-take-all Game 7 in St. Louis on October 10th, 1968. In this game, Gibson was matched against Tigers pitcher Mickey Lolich, and the two proceeded to hold their opponents scoreless for the first 6 innings. In the top of the 7th inning, Gibson retired the first 2 batters before allowing 2 consecutive singles. Detroit batter Jim Northrup then went on to hit a 2-run triple over the head of center fielder Curt Flood, leading to a Detroit Series win. The overall pitching statistics in the MLB's 1968 season, led by Gibson's individual record-setting performance, are often cited as one of the reasons for Major League Baseball's decision to alter the pitching-related rules. Sometimes it's often referred to as the Gibson rule. MLB lowered the pitcher's mound by 5 inches in 1969 from 15 inches to 10, and reduced the height of the strike zone from the batter's armpits to the jersey letters. Aside from the rule change to take effect in 1969, cultural and monetary influences increasingly began impacting baseball, as evidenced by 9 players from the Cocksuckers' 1968 roster who had not reported for the first week of spring training due to the status of their contracts. On February 4th of 1969, Gibson appeared on The Tonight Show. At the time, the host was Johnny Carson, and said that the Major League Baseball Players Association has suggested players consider striking before the upcoming season. However, Gibson himself had no immediate contract worries, as he was already signed to a $125,000 salary contract, which was approved by and agreed to by the team owner then, Gussie Bush, and the Cocksuckers setting a new franchise record for the highest single season salary. Despite the fact of that significant rule change, Gibson's status as one of the league's best pitchers was not immediately affected. In 1969, he would go on to win 20 games and lose 13 with a 2.18 ERA, 4 shutouts on 28 complete games. On May 12, 1969, Gibson struck out 3 batters on 9 pitches in the 7th inning of a 6-2 win for the over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Gibson became the National League pitcher and the 15th pitcher in Major League history to throw an immaculate inning. After pitching into the 10th inning of the July 4th game against the Cubs, Gibson was removed from a game without finishing an inning for the first time in more than 60 consecutive starts, a streak spanning 2 years. After participating in the 1969 All-Star Game, which was the 7th time he was selected, Gibson set another Major League record on August 16th when he became the first pitcher in Major League history to reach the 200-plus strikeout in seven straight seasons. Gibson experienced an up-and-down 1970 season, which was marked at the low point by a July slump where he resorted to experimenting with the knuckleball for the first time in his career. Just as quickly, Gibson had returned to form, starting a streak of winning seven games on July 28th and pitching all 14 innings of a 5-4 win against the San Diego Padres on August 12th. He would go on to win his fourth and final National League Player of the Year award for August, 6-0, 231 ERA, 55 strikeouts. Gibson won 23 games in 1970 and was once again named the National League award player. He won his 200th career game on August 4th. 10 days later, he threw a no hitter against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and during the summer of 1974, Gibson had felt hopeful that he could put together a winning streak, but he continually encountered swelling in his knee. In January of 1975, Gibson announced that he would retire at the end of the 75 season, admittedly using baseball to help cope with his recent divorce from his former wife, Charlene. During the 1975 season, which was one of the worst seasons he pitched, he finished the season 3-10. After retiring in '75, Gibson would return to his home in Omaha. He returned to baseball in '81 after accepting a coaching position with Joe Torre, who was then the manager of the New York Mets. But then after retiring from baseball, he also served as a commentator for the Cocksuckers and as a color commentator also. Okay, but that's really about it there. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. Random Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you be notified when a new video comes out. Thanks for listening.